and we're talking to you on this cold winter's day because we've been quiet for a while because the bees are quiet for a while. So I've been asking people on Facebook to contribute questions about the bees and how we're handling them, and they did. So we have a bunch of cards. Teresa has some, I have some, and we're just going to go through them quick. So this is a little question and answer, and hopefully you might learn something you didn't know, or you might have more questions, in which case leave them in the comments below. Not you, Smuggy.
We have a cat in here.
We have a cat in here. He decided to stay.
In case you wonder who we're talking to off screen.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to start with the obvious question. Where do you get your bees? We have two sources currently. Actually, we're just doing a third one this year. But last year I purchased some on Kijiji. Those are the Saskatraz bees. And the other ones I purchased from a local Apiary, Scott Creek Honey, and they have a website, and it's like www.scottcreekhoneyfarm.com, something to that nature. I'll include the link in the blurb under the video. So, and this year I'm purchasing bees from the Apiary supply place in town. Sorry, the cat's being super cute. And Bee Outfitters. So they have New Zealand bees. So I'm purchasing 2 packages. They come with 2 queens, and if our bees are active enough, I'm going to do I'm going to split each package, so we'll get a total of 4 new hives.
And just on another note too, or you might even have that. No. The hives that we got last year were nukes or nooks, depending on how you say it. They contained 4 to 5 combs that are already filled up, plus the bees. This year, as Viola mentioned, we're getting packages, which is just the bees alone, no combs, and there's a very distinct difference in there. The nukes actually go much faster because they don't have to build out all the combs. It's already there. They can just fill it with honey or eggs or pollen or whatever. But the bees, when they're just by packages, they need something to start. They often take a lot longer to get going because they have to build all their honeycomb before they can fill it.
Yeah. And fortunately this year, thanks to all of the beekeeping we did last year, we have extra comb. So that's exciting. So it means that the packages that we are getting can get off to a rip-roaring start. So now on to the second question. I'll probably be clipping a lot of this out. How do you market your honey? And to date, we don't. Craft sales in your area are a good way to start. You know, if you have any local farmers markets that don't charge an arm and a leg for a table, and just through friends and family, really. Once you tell people that you have honey, they beat a path to your door, and the honey goes with them.
Yeah.
So, and do you have to pasteurize it? No. We are selling raw honey. Like when we get it, it's raw honey, and we market it as raw honey, so it has all the pollen and inclusions and everything else that the honey does have just out of the comb. And what is pasteurization?
Pasteurization is just heating the honey to extreme high temperatures to kill any bacteria or everything in it. But the nice thing about honey is it's already antibacterial and antifungal. So pasteurization is really not necessary unless you have extreme allergies to pollens or such. But honey in the raw is actually quite beneficial for boosting immunity because it has little bits and pieces of pollen and...
Yeah, my allergies actually got really smoked quite nicely this year just because of all the exposure to pollen and the bees and the honey. It was kind of nice. So, now what are the costs to set up a hive?
Expensive.
It can be. You can get used equipment. There are beekeepers every spring who are changing up to new equipment, and you can buy some of the old equipment if you don't mind old gnarly equipment, which is fine. First year, if you test it out, you don't know if you want to keep them or not. Just make sure that there are no holes that the bees can get out of other than the main entrance and the top entrance. Like we ended up with one hive body, it had a big honking hole in the back, and if we didn't have the bee bag, we would have had 300 bees plus sharing our driving space with us. It would not have been fun. So I would say per hive, cost-wise,
The hives themselves cost about $300, and that does not include installation and like just putting them together. And that includes the frames. The boxes, just the boxes, I think we got them on a sale, and they were like $18 for deep boxes. We need about 3 per hive, so that's $60 right there. Then we need the bottom board, the inner cover, the top cover. Each of those was approximately $20 a piece, I believe. So that's another $60. So what are we up to? 120?
sure,
120. And
140
then,
actually.
140, and
Closer
then
to,
you
but-
need all the frames to fill those boxes, 10 per each box, plus the inserts, and they're about $3 a frame. 3 times 30 is 90. So, okay, about $200.
Yeah, and then the bees are another 225.
And then
so,
the bees.
So yeah, you're gonna be spending about $500, like just as a gross estimate for your equipment, for the bees, for the hive bodies, for all the frames and everything else. Not if you buy a nuke, but if you buy a package, it's going to be about $500, and that would include your bee suit and your basic tools.
And then there's the bee supplies.
The beekeeper supplies. So if all in total, let's say rounding it to about $500 Canadian, and we are operating in Canadian dollars, and we are rounding everything up because of taxes,
Yes. Oh,
because of sales taxes. Yeah. So everything is about, the startup is about $500 per hive. If you buy larger, then if you buy more of them, like we actually got our hive bodies for $14.95 is what they were, because we bought an entire pallet, which was 24 boxes.
the butters, there's 17.95.
No, they were originally $17.95. They're down to $14.95.
Oh, okay. I thought they were $17.95, originally 25.
Nope.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Sorry, we're just niggling. Now, that being said, you can get it cheaper. It really depends on who you know. We didn't know anybody who kept bees or Kijiji or anything like that, so we bought everything retail. If you know someone that can help you out, and you're willing to go slowly, you can split your own hives, you can do things like that. There are ways to save money, but if you are just starting out fresh with no background or anything, in just going straight retail, it is a little costly. Another reason that we wanted to go through all of these channels is we wanted new equipment, because old equipment can carry disease. Same with getting bees from a source that you're not sure about, which is why we kind of went with Scott Creek Honey Farm. It's a very reputable beekeeper, and we knew that the bee stock was clean and well kept. If they were just phenomenal bees.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think we got, I wouldn't say get a bargain, but we got what we paid for. Like, they were good bees, and they still are, hopefully.
Yeah, the nukes that we got from him were the ones that we harvested honey from. We got no honey off of anybody else.
And they just went gangbusters. Like, they were really good, and we didn't have to worry about disease. We didn't have to worry about problems. So we were willing to pay the retail price to get a good stock and not have the problems associated with it.
Yep, and if everything goes well, then we won't have to buy bees again from him this year. But if we want, we still have the option to purchase queens.
Yeah.
So we can just continue to build our stock using his bloodlines as a basis. But he participates in research and a lot of apiary husbandry and stuff like that. So it was really nice to actually go through it and read all of the detailed programs out that he participates in, and some of the research projects that he's been a part of with his bees. All right, now where do you get your supplies? 3 sources, mainly Bee Outfitters, Amazon, and AliExpress. AliExpress is a great source if you can wait 6 weeks, which oddly enough in the middle of winter, who can't?
Yeah.
So you can get your hive tools, you can get your queen cages, you can get a whole bunch of the queen breeding supplies.
Bee suits, really cheap.
Oh yeah, the tunic that Teresa wears predominantly when she goes beekeeping
$15.
was $15. Some of them are $6.99.
Some of them are $6.99.
Some of them are
It's
$6.99.
just a wonderful place.
It's like a one-piece pullover tunic, thing with a little pocket, and yeah, so they're cheap.
Yeah,
I don't fit any of the sizes on that website, so
yeah, it was really nice. Like, yeah, the one I'm wearing I think is an extra large.
Yeah.
So it tells you the size are a little on the smaller side, but that thing, like in the dead of summer when it was super, super hot, which we had a really, really crazy hot summer last summer, was really nice to wear that thin fabric, I have to say.
Yeah, in case you got doing it in fabric.
You got a vented suit.
I do have a vented suit. It's big and puffy.
Yeah.
All right. How can you help bees get established? Leave them alone and keep an eye on them at the same time. So
Don't overcheck. One of the worst things that new beekeepers do is they go checking on them every 3 days. Try and check on them no more than once every 7 to 10 days. And one of the reasons for that is every time you check on them and disturb them, you actually push them back like a whole day.
yeah, they're panicking and they're trying to repair the damage you just did by poking around in their hive.
Yeah.
And so they're just in this constant cycle of repair, and then you're like, well, they didn't do anything, so I'm going to look even more. And then they repair, and then, yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, quite frankly, like, they're living animals and you take your chances.
Yeah.
You hope for the best, and 9 times out of 10 it's going to work out just fine, but sometimes, yeah, there are going to be problems and there's nothing really that you can do. So yeah, just plug them in, leave them, what did we, oh yeah, where we got our bees from, when we got them, we put them beside the hive for the night, and we didn't put them in until mid-morning of the next day. Don't put your bees in right away. Let them sit there in their place and just sort of get the feel for it, even if they're in their box. And that seemed to work out really well. They don't abscond, they like their new home. It worked well.
Yeah. Where do you get the equipment to harvest honey and work the beehive? You can get them from a specialist outfitter, or you can get them at places like PV Mart is now stocking beekeeping supplies. That's actually where we got our extractor.
And PV Mart here in Canada is like
Farm supply.
yeah, farm supply. Like I was going to say hardware store, but no, it's farm supply
It's farm
store.
supply, yeah. Okay, somebody wanted to know, now we're off of that subject of equipment, and now on to, why do bees attack me?
Viola, why do
Why do bees
maybe
attack me?
you would be best to answer this question.
I would be. This year I did suffer the most stings and or bonks to the head. I did get stung 4 times this year, or in 2018. So we'll start a ticker for 2019. But one of the reasons, very basic, I have dark hair. Usually, sometimes it's chemical. Well, it's always chemical because my hair is actually white. But yeah, I have dark hair. They are more prone to attack a dark-haired animal. I am larger. I am warmer than my sister is. I just put out more body heat. I am a larger target. I'm cozier, and the certain bees hate me. Also, the times that I have been stabbed. One time I saw there was trouble brewing and I ignored it, and the next time we dropped a hive. So,
But there's basically 3 categories in which bees will sting you. 1, visually, something about you sets them off. 2, chemically, there's something that they smell. Maybe it's shampoo, like she was using apple scented shampoo, which is why they kept going for her head, and the fact that she has dark hair.
oh, they also go for your eyes.
Oh yeah, well they didn't go for mine. Anyway, so that could be it as well, or it could be we have a friend whose nephew continuously gets stung, and could be also be like body odor. They're just
A bee climbed into his pocket and stung him in the car on the way home.
yeah, it's quite something. And the third thing is weather. If their environment either is very windy or they're in a drought, they're going to be agitated already. So those are 3 reasons why they might be coming after you.
3 of my stings were weather related, and 1 of them was dropping the hive. They really don't like it. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah. But either way, they were all agitated.
Okay, so this is, do you sell the honeycomb as well as the wax, or just the honey, and is the wax for sale? The answer is no. We don't sell the honeycomb yet. We do have a few frames that were set up if we wanted to sell honeycomb, but we chose not to. So they're frameless. They have no wire, no frame, no nothing. They just build sheets of wax down for us, and we were so happy. I know that they're in the videos. I believe it was hives 4 and 5 that were just going crazy, building us nice, beautiful sheets of wax.
Yeah. So it is our intention to sell it in the future, but right now we're just looking at building it for the bees.
Yeah, and I do need wax for crafting purpose. Oh, and the rest of the stuff we just cut the cappings off, so there really wasn't a lot of wax after that. So, okay. Now, how are bumblebees and honeybees different? I would say the honey.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and body size.
And where they live.
And where they live, yes. Bumblebees live like in ground and in small cracks in the trees, which is like low. They like low.
They burrow.
Yeah.
Actually. And honeybees live above ground in... Oh, another reason. Honeybees not native to North America. Bumblebees are. But honeybees were brought in through Europe, and that's why we have them today, but they're not native here.
Yeah. So bumblebees are for early pollination.
Mm.
The bumblebees have a nice heavy body mass. My sisters. Anyway, nice heavy body mass, and they can fly out in colder weather than honeybees can. I don't know if anybody saw the when we were moving the hives to their winter segment there, but I mean they were flying up and they were dropping to the ground about 7 or 8 feet later. They just physically couldn't make it.
Yeah.
Because they're tiny little bodies, they lose all their body heat and pew, down they go.
Mm.
So anyway, yeah, bumblebees are different. Oh, and bumblebees can sting and sting and sting again, and they have more virulent venom. So somebody who gets stung by a bumblebee will feel it a lot longer than somebody who gets stung by a honeybee. Okay. How do bees defend the hive from attack?
They sting you.
First, what do they do? What do they do first? First they come out and they bonk you.
Oh yes, the guard bees they'll hit you first. So if you ever hear, this is a good point for people who may not know, especially for the person who was asking why do bees sting me. Generally speaking, bees do not sting you without warning you first. Very seldom they do.
Like
that. Yeah. So if you feel like, okay, stop. So if you feel a bonk,
it was for science.
If you feel a bonk on your head or some part of your body, you might even be in a flight path. So they're telling you, get out of my way. If you ignore that, they will sting you. But they don't want to sting you because they die when they do that.
So don't get between them and their entrance. If your hives are facing that way with the entrance facing that way, don't stand in front of it.
Yeah.
Like ever.
And if you feel a tap, move.
Yeah.
That's basically what they're saying.
Yeah. 4 people asked, do you plant special crops for the bees?
No, but we will be. We actually were very, very fortunate in the fact that the land that we have is covered in wildflowers. And they have enough from spring to fall. However, last year we had a bit of a drought, a significant drought, it wasn't a bit. And that really impacted the flower crops that we had. But yeah, getting bee food for bees from spring to fall is really significant. Planting flowers that bloom early in the spring, throughout the middle of the summer, and late into the fall, like goldenrod is a crop, yarrow,
Clover.
Clover doesn't go into fall.
Oh.
But asters do, perennial asters, and sunflowers. Those are 4 things that you can plant, and that will be really, really helpful for the bees because at that point in time they actually start to panic because they have to prepare for winter.
Yeah. Okay, so how much honey does each hive produce?
Our hives or just hives in general? They actually, it's fairly significant.
I can't answer you now.
Okay. It's fairly significant. It's about, on average in Manitoba, what is it, about 300 pounds per hive?
165 kilos.
Yeah.
So yeah, 300 to 350 pounds from beginning of spring to the end of autumn. That's the whole gamut.
Yeah. Now bear in mind that's not what we harvest because that's their food. So we might harvest half of that in a really, really good year.
Yeah.
Last year we did not harvest that much because we saw that the bees were really agitated, and we wanted to make sure that they had enough, so we harvested very, very minimally so that they would have enough to bring them into spring.
All right. Do we foresee killer bees as an issue in our future?
No. It's too cold.
It is too cold up here. They can't survive the winters.
Yeah, they'd never make it this far.
Yeah. So as far as I know, they haven't been able to creep up much past Kansas right now.
Yeah.
So they're pretty much stuck. And there's an interesting tale behind how the killer bees got loose to begin with.
Look it up.
I recommend you look it up. It's actually really quite interesting. They were in Brazil. Look it up. Do we have trail cameras around the apiary?
Yes.
Yes, we do. And we've seen all kinds of interesting wildlife, and they've run into our electric fence.
Coyotes do not like electric fences.
All right, and that concludes my little wad of fun here. So, you know what? I'm going to just pause this for a second, and we're going to get the rest going in other videos. So I'm going to break them into 3, so we don't bore the living bejeebers out of you.